talk about the tariffs, right? Uh, so for months, Trump has been adamant that the tariffs were not going to impact consumers and they weren't a tax on consumers and consumers were not going to be paying the tariffs. Trump has said that they were going to be a tax on the importing country. However, when Amazon came forward and said they were going to potentially consider maybe showing how much each product is going up in price due to tariff on some of their specific products, uh, the organization got really upset, frizzled up like a little angry hedgehog. Don't do that. And Amazon ripped that back really quick. And more recently, Walmart has come out with an announcement saying that they would have to raise prices due to the Trump tariffs that are coming in. And I was really surprised, honestly, that it took the administration and the regime more than a day to respond to Amazon. I think it's because they were distracted goofing off in the Middle East, so they didn't see what Walmart said right away. So it took them a while to get used to it. But when they finally did see what Walmart had said, Trump put out a post on Truth Social that said, and I quote, "Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices throughout the chain. Walmart made billions of dollars last year, far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should, as I said, eat the tariffs and not charge the valued customers anything. I'll be watching, and so will your customers." So first of all, there's a few things that are really concerning about this. Um, One would be, okay, so Trump is saying Walmart should eat the tariffs. So is Trump now admitting that American companies will pay these tariffs? Because that sure sounds like an admission that American companies are going to pay the tariffs, and Trump is telling American companies now to eat the tariffs. And, with a company like Walmart, a bigger company, maybe they can find some way to eat some tariffs. But small businesses that already have, smaller margins or that just can't compete with a big giant like Walmart, the president's going to tell them how to run their business. Are we getting to a point where that's going to be, the case? Um, and then, the whole implications of I'll be watching, and so are your customers. Like now, do we have a regime where the president is going to openly start threatening businesses regularly, private businesses? If the president hears he doesn't like how your private business is doing something, he's going to use his microphone to threaten you and say something about it, which they did with several law firms in the past. So we're seeing a dangerous trend with that, which which is not good to see. But we're getting closer and closer to people seeing the prices raised. So there was, Trump, has spoken up against Walmart and Amazon daring to speak up because those are two major retailers. Personally, on my end, we went to the auto parts store recently to buy a light bulb for our truck, and commented to the cashier that the price had gone up quite a bit already, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you should probably buy like 10 of them because it's about to go up a whole lot more." And it's just like, "Oh great." So, I won't. This was O'Reilly Auto Parts, right? It's a big I think they're a national chain. O'Reilly. But the cashier was like, "Yeah, it's about to go up a whole lot more." And so that's just, something that was, I think, yesterday or a couple days ago or over the weekend, very recently. And then another personal example, just knowing the regime is racist and not an ally to the Spanish speaking nations. I bought like a 6 month supply of coffee back in like November when the election was what's it called, like ratified or whatever, and I just ran out of coffee. I should have bought more. And the coffee I buy, like some cheap generic instant coffee that's like our store brand, because I'm not fancy or anything. It's just simple. I have a kettle and I warm my water and I make my instant coffee, and it's good enough. And it was like $3 and something in like November or December when I bought like a 6 month supply of coffee, and I bought like enough coffee to last until now. And it was like seven something already. Already it was like seven something for one of these things. So the price has really gone up on that coffee already, which is like, okay, here we go. My internet connection's unstable. It keeps giving me a warning. So hopefully we don't lose me. Um, so that's my question to anyone here who can hear the sound of my voice, or hopefully if this thing does captions, you can read the captions. What's Are there any items that you're seeing on your shelves that have like gone up in price or gone down in price? I mean, if anything's actually going down in price, that'd be good to know. I just haven't seen that really personally anywhere. Everything seems to go up. Gas is going up, and everything's going up, despite what the president keeps claiming on TV. As a consumer, I'm not seeing that, but I'd love for someone to correct me if I'm wrong. If you're actually seeing prices go down or up, batteries, are they going up or down? Food, up or down though? Just because I want to give it say, like, maybe someone could say the price might be going down. Give space for that, but I haven't seen that. I've seen things just going up. Up. Yeah, that's what I thought. I haven't seen prices going down, as has been claimed. It seems like a big, beautiful lie. Speaking of big, beautiful lies, the big, beautiful bill, which is more like a big, beautiful, polished turd trying to piss on us and tell us it's raining. Is that the phrase? It's a really gross phrase. Um, but, really, this big, beautiful bill is going to disproportionately impact people who are already struggling more than others, and will disproportionately benefit the few who are already ultra wealthy, make the rich richer and the poor poorer, which is really telling that they are right now trying to hear this big beautiful bill. They keep having votes on it at like 1 a.m. when people are asleep, because that's what they do when they do shady business. They have bills that they try to pass at like holiday evenings really late at night, because they're hoping it means they'll have less people there to vote, or the public won't show up or won't be there to witness and object to what's happening. Maybe there won't be someone on the news live streaming or showing it. They think by showing a bill they'll have less resistance than putting it at 1 a.m. Just the fact that they're putting this at 1 a.m. If it's so important, like, why would you put it at 1 a.m. unless you have something to hide? Um, so that is a call right now that is being put out to demand, to your representatives not to hold this bill at 1 a.m. for one, because that's shady, right? And also not to pass it, too. But those are two touch points you can touch on, is like, why are we having this really apparently critical bill at 1 a.m.? And so, what's really probably one of the more concerning people for a lot of things in this big, beautiful, not so beautiful, horrific bill, is what they're looking to do to cut millions of Americans' access to healthcare. And there's different ways they're doing it, by reducing spending to the staff that run these organizations, people that answer the phones, people that help people, automating things and just making it really non-functional and frustrating, so people just give up and stop trying as a way to save money. uh, Tightening requirements that create barriers for people, that can cause people to lose benefits they are already entitled to, because it just becomes too complicated for them to just continuously reapply and go through hoops over and over again. So, really, look at what they're wanting to do with Medicare, because they've said over and over again they don't want to do a Medicare cut, but they want to make it so difficult for people who are on Medicare to stay on Medicare. And they're talking about work requirements of 20 hours a week. Uh, and this is really, like, the way they talk about it, they are just completely missing the nuance there. So a few things I want to point out that maybe some of us might not be thinking of. Oh, I just knocked my light over. Hang on. But some of us might not be thinking of, because we might be more geographically privileged, so to speak. Uh, in some places, especially like rural areas, there is no work. Like there's no work around. And that's why like entire populations in some towns in some areas will be on some kind of benefits because there literally is no work, right? So if you're stuck somewhere with no work, like that might be an obstacle. And then another obstacle could be like the 20-hour work requirement. They're saying for all able-bodied people, but like what about like someone who's a single parent, because like that you can't do that to a single parent or parents in general without first also addressing the fact that childcare is inaccessible because to so many families for a lot of reasons, maybe because they're in a small town and there's no childcare available. Some people don't have their family or a support system or people they trust that they could watch their children, right? There might be, if the child has a disability, like a regular daycare or school might not be able to take the child. If their child is very young and is an infant and can't be passed off, they're they need healthcare, and so like if they're going to take away people's healthcare, you're going to be taking away the healthcare of a lot of children too. So thinking about who is the most vulnerable in all this, like we are not protecting children. Uh, and for a party that claimed to be pro-life, it's not very pro-life of you not giving children health care and looking at cutting SNAP benefits and food stamp programs and school lunch programs and letting children go hungry. That's not very pro-life of you. It's not very Christian of you. That's not what Jesus would have done. I mean, it's very Christian of you. Sorry, like the way Christians are these days, they don't actually follow what Jesus taught. I think Jesus is too woke for most of them, which is really just sad because I think Jesus would have fed the starving children, and I think Jesus would have wanted everyone to have universal health care. Um, but somehow the people that claim to be his followers have missed the memo. Why is it the pagan person that gets this, that understands what would Jesus do? Oh, because it was drilled into my head living in the Bible Belt growing up here. Uh, Let me check the comments before I go on to my notes here, because I've got a few other notes. So let me see what people are saying. And then everyone else, what's going on? And I pray, oh my God, to pray for revolution. Okay, sorry. I am not going to torture everyone with my off-key singing. That is unkind. Disabled, but not on disability. Yeah, exactly. I work at a nonprofit helping individuals with substance use, and I'm very concerned about our clients losing Medicaid in a red state where my concerns bounce off reps' ears. And like I was looking at like numbers, and I didn't bring numbers because this is just a question that popped up based on your response. But there's a lot of the recipients of a lot of like benefits are in red states. Like red states receive a lot of benefits, and they're hurting red states with this. Speaking of which, like we had was it Kentucky or sorry, I'm geography. If I haven't been somewhere, it's hard for me to know things. But like in up north of us somewhere, there was a bunch of tornadoes recently, and they just didn't have overnight staff to interpret those weather. So it's just like they've got a 9 to 5 weather crew in certain national weather center situations now. So if weather happens outside of business hours, we're all screwed, I guess, basically, right? Like, thanks, Elon Musk and Trump regime, for making our weather forecasts much less effective. Has anyone else noticed that? Because that's something David and I were talking about recently. Like, the weather apps on our phones, like, they've always been kind of not the best if you're not looking at, like, a local forecaster, but they were, like, okay in some instances. And so often now they'll be like 0 rain, and it's like it rains like every day. It says 0 rain. It's just the forecasting has gotten so much worse, and apparently, I was thinking we were watching the movie Twister the other day because it's just a classic, doesn't get old. It's one of those rewatchable movies for us. And so we were watching Twister, and I was just thinking, wow, in Twister, they have this big dream to give people more notice about tornadoes before they arrive. And I'm just like thinking, how sad would it be to think that from the time that movie came out, I think it was a 90s movie, is when I was growing up, and we've gone backwards from like we used to have some notice, and then we had like, like potential for tornado watch, which is kind of like, okay, to be aware tornadoes might be coming, and so you're aware to watch. And now it's gone back to no notice, like worse. It's worse than in the movie Twister, which was in the 90s. It's like Invader Zim, where he's like, worse or better? It's like, no, this is, you made things worse. It's definitely worse. And our weather forecasting stuff is worse. And we're about to go into hurricane season. And I have a very bad feeling about what things are going to look like in hurricane season this year, with the oceanic and hurricane like centers not having a staff. That might cause problems. I could be wrong. Just assuming. Aw, thanks. Hey there, Lyric. Thank you for speaking up, speaking out, and advocating. And I'm just using my big mouthy voice. Oh, this iPad is on fire. It's so hot. It may overheat. If the iPad overheats, I might get kicked off here. Maybe should I unplug it? That would be a good idea. Let me just unplug it. I was charging it, but we'll unplug it because that'll help it not be hot. There's a case of domestic terrorism that took place this weekend in Hernando. Yeah, send the details. Um, I'm not religious either, but have studied many religions, and I agree with Gandhi. I like your Christ. I do not like your Christians. They are so unlike your Christ. I hadn't heard that one. Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, I was always like, in the church they always had like was popular, those little WWJD bracelets, that like little stretch bracelets, and just WWJD. It was like on things like Christian gear that people would wear. It was like a thing, and it's like, it's what would Jesus do? And so it's supposed to remind you to ask yourself, what would Jesus do? And I'm just like thinking, watching all of the nationalists, I'm just like, did you not remember the what would Jesus do stuff? Because I feel like all of these things you're doing are definitely not what Jesus would do. Jesus, who flipped over tables in churches and disdained money and capitalism. You know, what would Jesus do? Not Jesus would hate Donald Trump. That's what Jesus would do. Jesus would eject Donald Trump from the White House with a catapult. Maybe not with a catapult. That might be a bit excessive. But you know what I mean? Jesus would not be tolerating this. But, here we go. Let's see. Back to my notes. If anyone else has got things that I missed that's going on in your part of the world, please let me know. I'll be here for a little bit longer. Oh my gosh, I just tried to scroll on my notebook. I went, like, that didn't work. I spent too much time on technology recently. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So the U.S. Attorney General dismissed their case against Newark Mayor Ross Baraka. And I might have said that wrong, so apologies if I've got that wrong. Please correct me if so. But at the same time, they brought charges against Congresswoman LaMonica McLiver. I think I wrote that down wrong. Who was present when the mayor was arrested. So it's like, they just like, we'll let this one go. We're going to try and get that one. And it seems like that all of that seems very questionable. That arrest, the footage, everything seems a bit doctored. And it's a power move. They're trying to be intimidating, similarly with just like arresting Hannah Duggan, the judge. So, they want to intimidate anyone who's standing up to say this isn't okay. And so, the thing about the case with in Newark with the ICE detention center, where the mayor was originally arrested, is they were outside of the facility, in the outside of the gate. Like, you can see in the videos, like, there's a sign where it says private property, no trespassing. And so as long as you were not behind the private property, no trespassing signs, and they were on the outside, facing the no trespassing signs, but not past them, so they weren't trespassing yet. They hadn't crossed that threshold. And so the agents came out and got them and arrested them and took them in to the facility. So they were arrested from the public area. They came out to the public and arrested them. So that's not a good arrest. And then aside from that atrocity of it, because anyone has a right to stand in a public area outside of a government building if it's not marked as private and no trespassing. And since you were outside of the signs, not past the signs, like it's public area, um, the Congress people and the mayor of that town have a right to inspect the facility, and they were there to do an inspection. So none of it really makes sense. Um, yeah. So that's interesting to see, and we got to keep watching and see what they do to that congresswoman, and hopefully they let her off soon, because it's really we need have some outrage over that so she doesn't get charged. But all of it seems very shaky. Hang on, let me hydrate because I gave a presentation this morning and I spoke for like an hour straight, and now I've got a scratchy voice. Oh my gosh, and it's hot. The heat is creeping in. All right, a few more things. And then if anyone has anything else they want to drop in the comments, I'll go do my research after the fact. Actually, if you drop them in the comments, they won't be there when I re-upload. I need a better solution to that. I'll have to think about that before our next live, and I should be back next week. I try to do this once a week. All right. Oh my goodness. All over the internet, the phrase "someone just needs to do it" has been trending, without anyone providing any further context as to who or what it is that needs to be done. But people all seem to understand by hearing this simple phrase what it means, at least for the most part, and it has really, really been trending. No comment, just sharing the news that somebody needs to do it has been trending all over social media. Just sharing for no particular reason. Oh, other interesting news. Elon Musk, who hopefully we'll be seeing less and less of in the coming months and weeks, really looks like he's lost a lot of his sparkle recently. I shared a video on my Substack notes wall thingy on Facebook and Instagram, just from an interview from Elon recently, where you're asking, if he's going to continue to invest his money in government and politics, and he says not right now, something along that nature, and then he's like, I think I've done enough, and it's just like, yeah, you've done enough, please. But recently, I think late last week, Friday, Saturday, maybe Thursday, Elon Musk's Grok was at it again. I love seeing how much Grok, is it Grok? I don't really know. I'm not a Twitter person anymore. Elon ruined Twitter, so I just keep it to spy on them over there. But I spy on the Yahtzees on Twitter. That's all it's good for. It's a gross place. But Grok started spewing Nazi propaganda, impromptu and in unrelated context. So people would be asking it questions about, I don't know, some photo or something, and it would just randomly suggest information, including Holocaust denial theories and white genocide in South Africa propaganda. And what was really interesting about this is when Grok was asked why it was doing this, it said that it was programmed and asked to tell people these things. So I see it's like Grok is like this 5-year-old child that is telling on its parent because it has no filter, and so people are just like, oh, and what happened next? And it's like, and my mommy did this really bad thing. My daddy did this really bad thing, and it doesn't know not to. Like, and so it's just kind of really funny because, I feel like Elon loves his robot android baby more than he loves his real biological human children, which is really sad. And so seeing his AI baby just backfire on him has just been really beautiful to just see it tell on him over and over again. Um, but even though Elon says he's stepping away, I just want to tell everybody we're not going to forgive him. I don't think I hope he doesn't think people are going to start buying Teslas again, because I think we're always going to remember, hopefully, what he did. People have died because we lost good weather coverage and tornado warnings. He's got blood on his hands. Whether he actually will ever face charges for it or not, those of us in the public have to keep public opinion and facts in the forefront. And so, if they won't hold him legally accountable, we can hold him socially accountable and never let people forget all the atrocities he's done. And we're not done with him, right? Tesla brand is ruined, hopefully. I don't even think Tesla brand, I think honestly, even at this point, it's so far gone, and the association with Elon is so bad. Even if they cut Elon Musk loose, I don't think Tesla could be saved at this point. And I that's just my opinion. It's my totally unqualified opinion, transparently. Like, I want to say that I'm not qualified to give this opinion. Like, I'm not an economic expert or anything, but for me, there's nothing that can save that brand in my eyes, even if they cut Elon Musk loose, because they took too long to do it at this point. Even if they do it now, they should have done it the minute he did his sending his heart out gesture. They should have cut him loose, in my opinion. In my opinion, I'm getting better at remembering to add "in my opinion" on the end of things. So then maybe I can leave more of these videos up for replay in public domain after the fact, instead of hiding them. Tesla brand is ruined, yeah. Don't you know that you're toxic? You're toxic, toxic. Far too late for Tesla to break ties with him. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It really does seem like Elon Musk and Trump have had their falling out, which I kind of felt like it's inevitable. But I've seen comments and articles. People seem to think he's embarrassing, and they know he's bad for the brand. Like, they know he's an unpopular figure, right? And so that means the court of public opinion and public outrage and public disgust for these figureheads and these puppets that they put in these places can have an impact. So, we have to now pay attention to who's stepping into Elon Musk's shoes, which potentially is going to be Vought. And Vought is a Project 2025 architect. And so that's someone now we need to be paying a lot more attention to, is Vought. And then also, looking at now, for a while, next to Trump all the time with Elon Musk, and now he did go to the trip over there recently, but before that we're seeing less and less of him with Trump. He's not like Trump's little shadow anymore. But we always have Stephen Miller, who's also someone who has a very questionable Yahtzee background, really questionable history. Stephen Miller, look into Stephen Miller, because Stephen Miller the Snake, Nosferatu, what they compared Stephen Miller to on Saturday Night Live. He's a bad dude, and that's not like a compliment, like a bad dude, like, no, like a bad guy, like a literal freaking villain from like some kind of a horror movie, or like a Disney villain. Or it's too evil to even be a Disney villain. You know what I mean? Like, so now it's like, okay, we need to start paying a lot more attention to the Project 2025 architects, the people associated with the Heritage Foundation, like who's Vought, who's Russell Vought, who's Stephen Miller, who's JD Vance, and JD Vance, most importantly, who does your eyeliner, because it is always on point. You got to give something, like, you always got your eyeliner. It looks good. I want to know who does your eye makeup, if you're listening. I don't think he'd ever admit he has eye makeup on, but that's got to be eye makeup. Do you think he's got a permanent tattooed eye smoky eye? Is it a permanently tattooed on smoky eye that JD Vance has? It just reminds me of that picture they found of him. I don't know if he was like in college or high school, and he has the wig on. He's got the thick black eye makeup. Maybe it's fascism. Maybe it's Maybelline. Yeah, I don't know. I just for people who claim to hate drag and makeup and men who wear makeup so much, they are wearing a lot of makeup. And no one's gonna tell me they're not wearing makeup. Like that dark eyeliner, that raccoon, JD Vance the raccoon, like that's not natural. The raccoon is not born that way. And Trump's little white here, it's orange over here thing going on. Hey guys, can we not do that, please? Lady, come here, baby. I love you. Don't scream at the neighbors right now, please. Good job, thank you. Come here, Sadie. Piggy, 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 piggy. Yeah, shake it off. Okay, she shook it off. I think we're good. Leave it. No, no, you're a good kid. Thank you. Okay, we were about to have 4 dogs barking and screaming at the 4 dogs that are outside. Crisis averted. Okay, I don't know what I was saying anymore because I was just like, please don't do the barky bark thing. Let me jump in the comments. I want to scream at the neighbors. Yeah, that's. I was like, you want to scream at your neighbors? I'm like, what'd your neighbors do to you? And I was like, oh wait, I get it. Yeah, the dog wants to scream at the neighbors. Yeah, that's exactly what Sadie wants to do. Dusty screamed at the neighbors first, and then Sadie's like, I want to scream at the neighbors too. And then if everybody starts screaming at the neighbors, it's just going to take a really long time for everyone to calm down, and you're all going to hang up because I have no mute button. Unless there's something over here I don't know about how to use. I might have a mute button. I'm scared to push this button and see what happens. I'm like, do I push the button and see? Wait, I can see. I do have a mute button. Okay, I just learned something today. I have a mute button on Substack. Facebook doesn't have a mute button. This is one more reason Substack is awesome. There's a mute button. And there's a music button. I don't know what that means. Like, does that mean I can have music? Oh, I don't know what that means. Oh, wide spectrum audio for musicians. Well, I don't need that. I'm definitely not a musician. But that's good to know. I can hit mute next time if the dogs like see something really excited about and they just can't contain themselves because they're dogs. They just can't help it. They're dogs. Sometimes they gotta bark. You know, that's a dog thing. They're cute kids. You gotta let them do dog things. Do it for science. What are we doing for science? I don't remember anymore. Do it for the Vine. Anybody else remember Vine? I just aged myself. I loved Vine. It's so addicting. In the UK in 1990s, we had an orange man for an orange soda drink called Tango. It was slapstick, and the saying goes, you know when you have been tangoed. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah, but it's like the thing is, this guy doesn't even have to be orange. Like, you know, he paints himself that color because you can see the line. Like, it's not natural, right? Like, if maybe like see like if you go out in the sun, you, like and your neck is under your face, it can be lighter than your face. But this isn't where the suntan line would be unless you're going out like with something on your face like this. Like that doesn't make sense. Like I don't even understand. Is it oh hang on. I think I just figured out what it must be. Is it a spray tan and he's wearing some kind of like do you wear like a hair net kind of a thing so it doesn't get on his hair. Is that what it is? Is it some kind of like a would you wear a swimming cap or like a hairnet to get a spray tan? Is it a spray tan? And so that's like a line from something like I don't know. I've been wondering. I'm like, what's with the bold line? Because it's like if it was makeup, you would think you could just like blend that back a little bit, buddy. I don't know. Blend that back. Yeah. I don't have the energy to do a whole face of makeup like that. Sorry, you get all my blemishes and imperfections, and I'm not going to apologize for them. It is what you get, what you see is what you get. Sorry. Not sorry, actually. I'm not sorry at all for it. All right, everyone. Is there anything else going on that burning questions, burning things in anyone's minds today? I went through my bullet point highlighted list of all of the nonsense that's happening in the world. There are some good things. There are ups and downs, but like I said, I think the biggest thing is to put pressure to make sure this big, beautiful bill that is really not beautiful at all doesn't go through, because it really is something that will continue to make the rich keep hoarding more wealth and get even richer, and those of us who are at the bottom who are struggling, it is a nail in the coffin just to keep the rest of us down. So we we can't let it go. We can't let it go through, and it's like it's Medicaid is a big piece of it. Uh, and like some of the Republicans didn't want to vote on it because they're like, the restrictions on Medicaid aren't strong enough. And it's like, wow, really evil, right? Like, we just tax the rich, small percentage. You could cover all of these things, people that are vulnerable and at the most risk need. Like, what is it, like the rate per day someone gets for Social Security or like health care? Like, going after grandma's $65 a day or something. Like, this isn't the way. This isn't the way. We need to take care of everybody and help everyone have the supports they need to be the very best versions of themselves. And taking people's health care away is not going to make them work. If people can't get health care, it's going to make it harder for people to work. It doesn't even make sense. You can't make it make sense. We need more Gandalfs in Congress. You shall not pass. Yeah, we need more people in Congress who are not bought and paid for by lobbyists. We need to get money out of Congress, and we also need to make it so that the Congress people can't like do all of these things like where like Marjorie, I don't know, whoever the heck, whatever her name is, Green, made all that money in the stock market and all of these shenanigans happening. Like, that's like, meanwhile people are losing everything, and insider trading is happening in our Congress and in our with our representatives. Like, it's we can't let this go on like that. Like, and we can't let like these, like, as long as our politicians are bought and paid for like NASCAR sponsors, like, they're going to be serving the interests of the people who paid money to get them there instead of the people of the country. And so it's like, we've got to get those big money donors out of our politics, because the people who give those big money donors are not in the interest of the people. They're in the interest of their organization. They're in the interests of their enterprise. Um, that's why, like, as a neurodivergent person, when I'm seeing people like come in and defend like different forms of neurodivergent conversion therapy in my comments, and they're like, I'm a provider, and I'm just like, the first thing I hear is, I have a financial stake in making sure this continues to be a viable service, because otherwise I won't be able to support myself. So it's just like hard to understand how people that are profiting off a thing, you know, that want to keep it there, they're pushing it forward against the best interests of those who they're claiming to help. We need more individual political and career engagement from our population. We need people to pay attention and quit just showing up at the polls to vote for a team. Here's the other problem, though, that a lot of people, I think, take for granted is our political system is really inaccessible for the average person. Um, like, for example, even just the way bills and legislation is written, like the wording and the processes sometimes, because we aren't taught enough about it in school, or we're taught about it when we're really young, so we're not old enough to really understand what we're being taught yet. If we are and a lot of us don't have the privilege of higher education, especially in America, right? And so the whole political process seems really inaccessible and confusing to a lot of us. Like a lot of people read the bills and they're like, I don't understand the legalese. I don't know what I'm reading. I don't understand what I'm reading because they make it so inaccessible. They don't put things out in plain language. And a lot of that I do suspect is by design because it does exclude like the common person with a common understanding from knowing what's going on. And like look at the fact that they're having a bill that they're reading at 1 a.m. Like, of course, they don't want the common person paying attention to what's going on. And it's proof of that is just the fact that they are doing the bill at 1 a.m. They if the common person doesn't understand the process, isn't paying attention, or doesn't know what's going on, it's a lot easier for those in power to keep control of everything. Um, so, it's by design, in my opinion. Need to vote candidates, not party. Yeah, I don't like we have this like two party system in America where it's like our choices are garbage or garbage. This kind of garbage or that kind of garbage. Although, like recently, there's like one kind of garbage that's much worse than any other kind of garbage, right? But like we should definitely have like actual choices. There's got to be a better way, right? And there's got to be a way to where someone who's not basically a NASCAR candidate just sponsors and sponsors and sponsors out the bum uh, is the only kind of candidate that has a choice or a chance because they have all the money to get the TV ads and all of the things, right? Like, because the average person can't afford to get the TV ads and all the other things. Uh, yeah. Yeah, who has millions of dollars to grease the legislation with the lobbyists? Not the not the people. Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing. Is like, in Texas, when I was trying to help with a few different things in the legislative system, like we were going and speaking to our House members and our senators. And with senators, they're really busy, so it's a lot of times you're talking to their aides. And even their aides are really busy when you're dealing with senators. And so we would go, just grassroots, small organization, a couple autistic advocates talking about our ABA stuff. Um, and we would go in and notice that there would be like these giant gift baskets and like all of these like really exclusive like gifts and things people were giving the House members and the Senate uh, when they were dropping by to talk about their bills and things. And meanwhile, we're just like two people like talking about why this is important and hoping it will be taken seriously. It's like we've got a card with information about our bill, or information about why you shouldn't vote on this other thing and why this thing is harmful. And it's like just a couple people kill like just killing our legs walking door to door in the Capitol because it's huge, and just going up and down and just like versus Autism Speaks, for example, which just like had like can send out a team of people that like have a script that they can just read out, right? That's prepared for them. Whereas like versus like the people trying to stand up to something like that. A team. It's impossible. It seems like sometimes. One song that comes to mind is the Mo the Moby and Public Energy song "Make Love Fuck War." I don't know that one. The lyrics: "Power to the people because people want peace." It has strong, powerful lyrics, good for a protest or any chants along those lines. Yeah, I've been making like protest music playlists. Yeah. And see, like in Texas, sometimes it just feels like your vote doesn't even count for anything. Everything's so gerrymandered, right? Texas is, oh man. Texas is an interesting place to be. You see that meme bill? I need to go check on that to see where we are with that meme bill they wanted to pass in Texas to like make it so you have to criminalize certain kinds of political content and memes. What the fuck is going on? Yeah. When things happen in Texas, they happen elsewhere. All right, everyone. I really appreciate everyone jumping on today. I am out of my notes of things I brought to prepare. I'm out of energy because, like I said, I spoke for about an hour earlier this morning to a client. If you are an organization or business, and believe it or not, I can be more professional and I can actually come polished and professional and teach about neuroinclusion and workplace organizational culture and neurodiversity. That's what I do in my day job. So I got done giving a presentation earlier today. Uh, and those take a lot out of me, even though they're really fun. So I'm just kind of mentally spent. So I'm going to log off, go make some food, and I'm going to post this replay. And I feel pretty good about it. So I'll probably leave it up. I don't think I said anything in here that's too questionable or is going to get me in trouble. I'm learning what I can and can't say and what I'll feel safe and regret saying after the fact. Because sometimes I watch a replay and go, "Ooh, I think this needs to go to followers only." And I don't think I did that today. I think I behaved myself really, really well. Thank you everyone so much. Thank you everyone so much for dropping in. Thank you all for your support. Thanks for speaking up. Thanks for helping to amplify my voice because uh, it really wouldn't be anything without my readers and my viewers because otherwise I would just be someone screaming into the internet and nobody would hear it or see it. But because you all comment and you share and you engage and you like hit the follow buttons or whatever the buttons are on all the different platforms, it's different everywhere. Because you do that, like it tells all of these algorithms and social media thingies that there's something people might want to check out and it might be somewhat relevant. And so you make all of that possible. Like none of this would be possible without all of you. So thank you all so much. I'm really grateful. I will be back sometime next week. It is my plan. I try to do one of these every week. I'm not telling you what day or time because I leave it up to when I'm feeling up to it and energetic, at least in the beginning. I was feeling up to it and energetic in the beginning of this, but my energy's kind of tapered off as I've gotten to the end. I'm kind of running out of it. But that was the thing. I was like, I can commit to doing these frequently if I don't have to commit to a specific date and time. Um, and so I'll keep doing these as long as that's working out for me and everyone. So I appreciate you all. We'll talk next week. Yes, voices are very important now. Yes, I agree. The more voices, the better. I work from home, so I love these live videos. Yay, I can keep you company while you work from home. Yeah. If anyone ever has any suggestions or topics or questions or anything, these don't always have to be about current events. That's just been what's going on. And I wanted to try and find some kind of like good stuff to talk about or some humorous stuff to talk about. I'm trying to find ways to bring humor to the dark news and the dark times because a lot of things are really dark right now. And so this is just me. Everyone's different, I realize. But for me, I feel like if I don't laugh sometimes, I'm going to cry. So I need to make some humor of the situation because humor is how I cope with things. And so it just helps me to make fun of things. And who doesn't enjoy mocking and making fun of the oligarchy? Like, it's fun. On other side notes, let's see if I can show you an example. I don't have a Truth Social account because I'm not going to sign up for that, but it seems like somehow like I can't get to the president's Truth Social anymore. Like I'm blocked even though I don't have an account. Like it'll get on here and then it's like no truths. Yeah. So I'm not even logged in, and I tried this on my laptop as well. So I don't know. Can anyone else get to the president's Truth Social account? Because I used to be able to get into it without logging in all the time. And how am I going to mock and make fun of the president now that I can't get to his Truth Social account? That's where all the hilarious stuff happens. How do I fix it? I must be able to make fun of the president. Anyway, if anyone can figure that out. Mary Trump does it with her weekly Trump Trolls Trump. Oh, that sounds good. I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to check that out. Mary Trump is a good one if anyone hasn't seen Mary Trump. I've seen different things Mary Trump has done live on YouTube. But I haven't actually, it's weird. I don't think I've seen Mary on Substack. Huh. I'm gonna have to go check out why, because Trump trolls Trump sounds awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you all so much. I will talk to you all next week. I'll post the replay. I'm gonna go eat and let the dogs out. Who let the dogs out? Me. I gotta go let the dogs out. Woof, 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 woof. I don't know. I gotta go.